This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
The Hits Back is sponsored by the Cancer Treatment Centers of America, Burger King, Fidelity Bank Bahamas, J.S. Johnson, the Water and Sewage Corporation, the Ministry of Health, the Cleveland Clinic, and the Pan American Health Organization.
And the hardest of times, we'll be taking care of all the children thereof. But if it's required, we'll be on the front line. You can call me by my name. I am ready to roll. Once the rules remain the same, how the story's been told. Call me anytime, never cop out. Lioness is on the rise, don't you ever have doubt. Never say never.
Good afternoon, this is Heather Hunt, and you are here with me on Guardian 96.9 on the Hit Back. It's another What's on Your Mind Wednesday. I'm so happy to be here with you once again, giving God thanks and praise for being alive. So much things are going on in this world, and of course, in the little Commonwealth of the Bahamas, that paradise that we all get to call home. But God is good all the time, and we're going to talk with you about whatever it is that's on your mind. So from Jump Street, we can open up the text and telephone call lines. You can call us here, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. And on the text line, 422-4796. That's 422-4796. I do have a guest in studio with me so that we can talk about everything that's on our minds and yours on this What's on Your Mind Wednesday. But before I get to our guest, I just want to ask you, have you heard the news? I'm sure you may have heard the news this morning, but I'll tell you one more time. We are about to get naughty on Guardian Radio. His new show, Talking Heads, premieres on Monday and will air weekdays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., so that's this very same time slot that you're listening to me on right now. And you've had the pleasure to listen to several wonderful women over the last 6 to 8 weeks here. Hold it down on the Hit Back until the Guardian had decided what's going to permanently fill that time spot. And dun 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 dun, it was announced this morning that you're going to get naughty starting on Monday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, and someone's calling in already. Let's take the caller, then I'll introduce my special guest on the inside of the studio. Go ahead. Good afternoon, caller. How you doing? What's on your mind?
Madam, how are you?
I'm fine. How you doing?
You okay?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Thank you. It's a pleasure to hear your voice again.
Thank you.
You said it's an open line show?
Whatever's on your mind Wednesday.
Okay. Are you aware of the homicide that we're having in this country?
I am aware. It's a very sad and a very serious situation. And every day, you turn on the TV, it seems like every hour you're getting a notification of something else. Even no later than this morning was a stabbing of a student in A.F. Adderley School. So I am aware. It's some very serious times we live in caller.
I am amazed. Why did it appear that there's no outrage? We have promotion on everything else in this country. Everything else we have promotion on this and that. There is no promotion on the traditional family. Do you believe it's a conspiracy?
I don't believe. Conspiracy is a strong word, and I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Maybe there is somewhat of a move away from our traditions and our culture as Bahamians, as what is the traditional family. And also, we have to think about what's going on economically, right? So we have parents who are trying to make do with less money, do more with less. And so there's an inherent level of stress there and working extra jobs. And so sometimes, the time that you would put into, raising your children and family rearing may be less and less now. But to say it's a conspiracy caller, no, I wouldn't agree with you with that. I think that's a stretch.
Let me tell you why I am of this view. I'm getting old now, Madam Hunt. I think you're not the lady that offered yourself a few years ago to run, right?
Yes, sir. That is me. 2012.
That is you.
Yes, sir.
And you're a mother, you're a mother and also a wife, right?
That is correct.
Do you believe? Now I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be very responsible. It appeared to me that the FNM and the PLP, they don't want to touch the subject of the replacement of the family, because what I'm seeing, both sides, FNM and PLP, they're not living good family example. They're not good for family example. This is why they play politics with crime, and they use crime as a bouncing ball. On either side is a very poor example on what they display as family. And I that's why I said I believe this is a conspiracy.
Well, caller, I thank you for your intervention. I'm going to introduce my guest, and we can
Thank you
jump
for
off.
allowing me.
We can jump right into that to start our conversation. So here in the studios with me, ladies and gentlemen, I have one of my great friends, the one and only Richard Johnson, better known as Facts and Issues. You hear him all the time as an advocate here in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas by way of social media and on television. Now here is my guest on this last day as your guest host on the Hit Back. So I said, you know what, we need to go out with a bang. And no one better than Bang Bang Boogaloo to keep my company this afternoon on the Hit Back. So Richard, thanks for coming in with me today.
Thank you, Hannah. It's a pleasure to being in the studios. And good evening, Bahamas. I'm sad this is your last day. I thought I would have been here with you for some more time, but we're gonna have a good show today.
I think we're going to have a good show. It is Wednesday, and I like to tell the people you talk about whatever it is that's on your mind. One caller, the last caller came in and talking about crime. And crime, we were going to get to crime anyway, Richard, because clearly crime is the issue of the day. Mm-hmm. Every other day we're hearing about murders, multiple murders. And, sometimes, not even sometimes, everyone historically knows that crime has been a political football.
It is.
So when the FNM is in, the PLP uses it as a political tool. The PLP is in, the FNM perhaps uses it as a political tool. But I think we're at a point now, Richard, where we have to get off of that politics and really look at ourselves as Bahamians and say, guess what? What can we do as individuals? Because the caller said the FNM and PLP don't want to touch the subject of crime because even they themselves are not living as good examples. What are you thinking about?
I think the society always say, don't make this issue political. But my issue has always been the government has an obligation to protect its citizens, visitors, etc. I believe the Bahamians at large have an issue with the approach that governments take on this issue with crime. And so, for example, let's talk about this current government now, 6 months in. We have a minister who's a well-learned lawyer, and I think he's a criminal lawyer. And so the question is, why haven't this minister been aggressive on crime, his approach or his pronouncements on particular matter relating to crime? Just the other day in Thompson Lane, they would have had to put a police van there overnight to protect the residents in the area. The problem is we act when something happens. We should not be acting because someone gets killed. We should be always acting and being proactive in our approach to crime. I saw a video today where police officers speak specifically to these gangs that apparently is a war going on with these gangs. The police force has to get strong. They have to be more visible. They have to show the gangs that they are in charge of the streets and they will not take any prisoners who decide to break the law. We have to be aggressive. We have to be aggressive and we have to be forceful with crime. I will send out a clarion call as if I was commissioner. Listen, we know who you are. This is what we're intending to do. If you are caught, this is what the consequences are. If the criminals are they're showing any restraint on being loose and wild and doing all manner of evils, then the police force has to be the same way. They have to get aggressive. And I'm not saying a strong message either from the minister or the commissioner of police currently.
So I hear your point, but okay, as crimes unfold, and we are getting, really crime fatigue, quite frankly, right? If the police get up and say, for example, they have press conferences. For example, Clayton Fernanda would have said recently too, we have the spot shotter. That's a wonderful tool. The police have the tools. They have the cars. It's not like they don't have the manpower. The last government and even this government have committed to making sure they have the resources. So the police get up there every day, and I got to give it to them too, in the face of adversity. And go out there and try to protect us every day. But are we as the citizens doing what we're supposed to do to help the police? Because I still have that feeling that we're doing too much cloaking. Yes, the police have their job to do, and yes, the Minister of National Security is charged with sending a strong message. But sending a strong message in the face of a community that is ill. I mean, at the end of the day, crime is the way it is because our community is ill. Our people are socially ill. So the police can't fix that. We have to figure out as citizens what we do to fix that.
Right. Well, one thing for sure, Heather, we don't manufacture guns in the Bahamas. I don't know of any factory where we manufacture guns. And so that's the number one issue. Too much guns are coming in this country. I don't see an aggressive or effective approach within the borders in terms of, what is the detail or the intelligence regarding guns coming to the Bahamas. I don't think we have that. I remember the former Prime Minister, Hubert Ingram, would have put a gun amnesty period in, where he was telling people to come in and return your gun, give it to your pastor, you got to walk in the police station and do that. We got to start doing more of that. My issue is I think the public has lost many trust in the police force for many reasons. Whether it's the police brutality, whether it's the response on particular matters, whether it's police giving justice. I think the police has to do a better job in being more respectful to the community and building more relationship with the people in the community. Because, quite frankly, people will tell you if you do a status, a lot of these in the city communities, a lot of them are not friendly with the police officers. And it might be on both sides where there's an issue. But for the most part, the police officers are the leaders in our community, leaders in our country. And it's them who's supposed to, this is our community. We're going to do our best to work with our citizens for us to make a better society.
Yes, I do agree with that. We do have a caller on the line. Let's see who else wants to weigh in on our conversation. Caller, good afternoon. Thanks for calling the Hit Back.
A godly day to this dark universe along with you, Casey.
How are you?
I'm right here. Where you going?
Hello.
Today's your last day?
Today is my last day. Well, I was only filling in along with the wonderful ladies you've been listening to for the last couple of weeks. We were temporarily holding it down until...
But I thought they would have given you a spot.
Well, I mean, you get to listen to me today. I'm sure I'll be around. I quite enjoyed my time here on Guardian Radio, so I think... they'll call me in to guest host or to stand in and fill in. I think this is the beginning of a wonderful relationship here at Guardian. So I don't think I'm going to be far away, but I won't be here in this slot.
Okay. Now, a couple of things, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the gentleman say that people are not friends. The police don't need any friends. Number one, the police here to do a job, and that's what they are getting paid for. If they mother break the law, their duty is to uphold the law. Whereby anybody who has broken the law should be, the consequence of the law. The consequence of the law should to deal with them.
Right.
So they don't need a friend. Their friend is their job. what the public are paying for. Okay?
Right.
We pay them, so do your job. Right here in Mason's Edition, right, Spence Street, the filthiest things happen around here, and I call the police over and over until some of them carry on as though they're tired coming. And Wayne Monroe should be dealing with it because he knows the real problem, why I'm having this problem around here. Okay? The thing is, when they start shooting up each other, the police would say, who see what, right? But the thing is, you're calling them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
In days went by, if the police were to call to a situation, they deals with it. They search the house. You know what I'm saying? They search the house. They see you on the street. They would search you, but they ain't got that kind of professional, you know.
So what you're saying then, the police have lost their touch on how to effectively carry out their mandate.
They're not supposed to lose their touch because we are paying them.
Right.
Okay? We are paying them. So anytime you don't want to work or you're not going to work or you're not as professional as you should be, then get off the force. Because we want justice, law, and order in this country.
Indeed.
And that's what's not happening. Let me show you something. When the UBP was in power, we had better policing. The first year or two, when the PLP took over, we had decent policing. But now, it's only a bunch of filth, and they should get their act together.
Okay.
They don't need any friends. We paying them to do a job, and if they cannot do the job, then allow the people or those that's in authority to get people from other parts of the world to come here and do the policing like they used to do one time ago. Do your work, because you're causing the Haitian people a bunch of problems when you're not doing your work as a police. If you can't do it, get off the force. If you don't want to do it, get off the force.
Thank you so very much, caller. I do appreciate that. Before you chime in there, Richard, let's see what the second caller says. Hi, caller. Thank you for holding and welcome to the Hit Bar.
Madam Heather, good afternoon. Brother Richard, good afternoon.
How are you, John?
I just want to hit on a couple points the previous caller actually addressed. In this country. You put out people to do the job. You bring in foreigners here to do the job, they'll go into an uproar because then they'll say that it's not sympathetic for a way to our way of life and so on. So there will always be complaints, regardless of who and what you put there. My thing is, the society seems to believe that the police is the be-all, end-all. They are false in that belief. We, the community, we, the people, are supposed to work in concert with the police to help to address and also to remedy a lot of the situations that we have going on, because it is we, the citizenry, who knows a lot. The police cannot be everywhere, Sister Heather. The police cannot be everywhere, and this is where the participation of the public is so important. No, the police would not be able to respond in a timely fashion to each and every situation. However, if we are responsible citizens, we should be able to gather enough information to give to the police, not being scared about repercussions per se, because you pass on information to the law enforcement to deal with some of the matters, but you have to be bold enough to stand up and let the criminals know that enough is enough, and our society or our community, we're not going to take anymore. And this is where the whole crux of the matter is. Stop laying everything on the police. We have a responsibility. We have a duty as citizens. And if we neglect that, remember, the police officers come from among us. They also have families among us. So if we're not doing what we're supposed to do as citizens, how do we expect the police force to do it? I'll close on this one final, very critical point here. You know, the law enforcement can only go so far as information gathering. I think the general public is crying out more than anything because most of these cases, even though the police may have arrested someone and put them before the courts, we need to see more forensic and analytic information coming forward. Not just someone give you a piece of information or you may have found something and you stop at that point. The process must continue, whereas to strengthen the case against the person who you bring before the courts, once that is beyond a shadow or a reasonable doubt that the information received is that credible that they cannot get off, then I believe that we can begin to fix a lot of the situations that we have with a lot of these people getting off a lot of these cases. I have yet to see or hear in closing, I'm not hearing sufficient where forensic and analytical information is coming forward on a lot of these cases. Therefore, where once it goes into court, they will not be dismissed or thrown out. Thanks for taking my call today.
Thank you so much. Richard, would you?
Thank you, Jeff, for the call. Something I wanted to clear up what Bremen would have said before Jeff called. I just wanted to clarify something. I think he made the note. I think he was trying to say that I was saying that the police are not your friends. Here's what he has to understand. Police officers are already in urban renewal in the communities. There's something called community policing. We see the minister today talk about putting police back in schools. So, of course, all of these components are a part of the community. You will want the police officers and yourself to have a good relationship in order to make the community work. There are areas in this country, Hannah, where if you are seen pulling on the side of the road or you are seen in a particular area, they call the police because you have certain where I live in out west. If your car is seen parked in an area, the residents call the police because they have a crime watch community. They don't tolerate that. So what I'm saying is, it is the community that have to work with the police to make this matter addressed. The other addresses matter. It's community, it's the police, it's the government, it is everybody. I want to say this final point. We have a lot of police officers who are mentors to a lot of young boys who don't have no father. And so sometimes the friend or the cousin will call them to deal with the child, the stubborn child or the bad son or boy who isn't listening. Who they have to call? Their police friends. I know some children today, they bad. When you say you call in police for them, they ready to haul and scream. And so their presence has to be felt, and we have to give them the respect, and the police also have to do it to the community. It goes both ways.
It does go both ways. We're going to take our first break for the afternoon, and we'll pick up some calls and continue to talk about the issues of the day in this Bahamas that are on our mind right after this break.
This traffic report is brought to you by Shield Insurance and Prudential Loss Adjusters.
In a first look at traffic this afternoon, there are sections across the island to that roundabout intersection at Samalavala Highway. You're going to meet a heavy traffic line on those dual lanes headed west. Already this afternoon, six-leg roundabout is being crowded with a hefty wait line of traffic sitting on University Drive West Lane, also trying to get into that roundabout. But the other part is that the north side of that roundabout is busy as well. Traffic coming from the west, Providence Avenue, also making that intersection busy. Then there is West Bay Street, already slowed down this afternoon on the ride home over there. From about Fort Charlotte, it's a slow ride all the way west, at least until you get about the Saunders Beach area. A familiar dual lanes coming off Robinson Road, Blue Hill Road South, and East Street South going into Blue Hill Road roundabout is crowded with traffic coming from the east lane of Tony's William Donnelly Highway as well. And the East Street roundabout is causing a big slow up on the East-West Highway Hill for the traffic leaving East-West Highway, wanting to get there onto East Street. You've got your regular afternoon inner city area. Wolf Road slowed down by the amount of traffic moving around there. Palmdale, Mackey Street all have that afternoon flow of slow traffic movement. The after-school Localish Road, so that intersection of Wolf Village, Boulder Road, quite busy right now. And it seems like it's right home along East Bay Street, because from the Paradise Island Bridge headed east, you've got a constant traffic flow that slows down around Montague to get through the traffic light before it dissipates out there onto the Eastern Road and eventually Village Road. Those are your nominal afternoon traffic flow suggestions that are happening across the island at this hour. No traffic control center or anything to any concern or detour your ride home. This is the week of the Royal Visit, and we'll have information on some of the road changes that may affect your ride. This National Traffic Report is the service of Dr. Danny Johnson and Associates at Foot Michael International, who's available to assist with all sorts of foot injuries. They're located atop the hill at Fort Charlotte. On Dean's Lane, call them at 322-5402. That's 322-5402 for more info. For the first look at traffic this afternoon, I'm VANN.
Michael was in a horrible car accident. Prudential Loss Adjusters managed his claim and got him the settlement he deserved. Sierra's roof received hurricane damage. Thanks to Prudential, she and her kids are happy with their claim settlement. Tammy fractured her ankle in a slip and fall. Prudential saved her time, money, and peace of mind. Prudential Loss Adjusters are here for you whenever a tragedy strikes. Call 322-4026 now.
Don't wait for disaster to strike. This hurricane season, be ready. Protect your home with an affordable and comprehensive home insurance policy from Shield Insurance. You can't control what nature blows your way, but with Shield Insurance, you can rest easy as you ride out the storm. Protect your largest and most valuable investment. Don't take a chance. Put your home in our hands.
Shield Insurance agents and brokers in Nassau. Call 356-7202 or Freeport 352-5945.
Burger King Nassau is taking spice to new heights with the new Baja Whopper and Baja Crispy Chicken sandwiches. Enjoy your choice of a flame-grilled Whopper or a crispy chicken filet topped with chipotle sauce, guacamole, jalapenos, cheese, lettuce, and tomato, all on a fresh potato bun. The new Baja sandwiches at Burger King Nassau pack plenty of flavor, and with an ice-cold Pepsi and fries or onion rings, it's the perfect way to fill your day. The Baja Whopper and Baja Crispy Chicken Sandwich are only available at Burger King Nassau, where taste is king.
When I had got prostate cancer, my family didn't know if I was going to live. At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, within days, I got an appointment. They presented me with treatment options, and we set up a robotic prostatectomy. When my scans came back, there are no signs of cancer. They don't see you as a number, they see you as a part of the family. I'm going on with my life. That's a real gift.
Call us at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Are you ready? 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 When the roll is called up, I'll be standing taller to face the darkest and the hardest of time. We'll be taking care of all the children there.
All right, good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen. This is Hit Back. It's a wonderful Wednesday. It's a wonderful day to be alive. I'm joined here in studio with Richard Johnson, and we're talking about the issues of the day in this wonderful paradise of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And really and truly, so much is on our mind, but everyone wants to continue this conversation about crime. Before we get back into conversation, we did have a caller holding for quite a bit, so let's get to that call. Caller, good afternoon. Thanks for calling the Hit Back.
Hi, Heather.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Richard?
How are you, Matthew? All is well?
All is well. In the conversation of crime, I understand some persons will say the police has a responsibility. The community has a responsibility, whether it's the church, whether it's the society, whether it's the NGO. But I think what we find happening is sometimes we find the political directorate getting involved in some of these things. And it causes people, and even probably the police, to get frustrated. So, because I remember a few months ago, and it was a video or a voice clip, alleging that a young man was locked up, and he is saying he is going to call the current Minister of National Security, because that's his MP. And it makes it seem as though that the political directors sometimes play some part. Now, sometimes they want to assist, but sometimes you have to say, listen, if you did something wrong, then listen, then you have to pay the consequences. Because it doesn't make sense, especially in that position, that you have, again, a constituents who know you that well, who could call out and say you are his MP, and he could call you at any time. And so I could understand the frustration at some point where the police is going to get frustrated. And so they might lock up somebody, and in a few minutes, they out. I mean, not on bail, but they out the cell. And so that's where we have sometimes a lot of issues faced with the police. And so I think on all parts, community, church, NGOs, police, I think in order for we to get a total handle on these crimes, we need to work together. We just had a stabbing today at AF Adley. Okay? And you're wondering, because, well, so is being said, that they may be putting the police back in the schools, but I don't know from the political directorate or the legislative directorate policy, from whether it's the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of National Security, what is, because then you also now have to deal with whether the police who are in the schools, whether they're going to be carrying weapons or not. And so you don't want to put complete fear in the students that even if something happens, that they can't come to the police if something do happen.
Well, we have to see what the political directorate puts in place. In my mind, this is a clear example of what happens when governments change and basically sometimes throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? Because school policing is nothing new. If it had been left in place, and I'm not blaming or taking up for one government or the next, okay? But the reality is, if community policing, urban renewal, school policing, they would have been at least 15 years or 20 years even by now entrenched and fully developed. And maybe we would have been starting to see the difference. But every 5 years you change it, you revamp it. You close urban renewal, you fire all the urban renewal workers. Now you got to start all over again with a new set of programs and policies. So I think that's part of the problem there. But caller, thank you so much for your call. We'll take another call and then get back on the conversation. Caller, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, my son. How you doing?
Good afternoon. Good.
And good afternoon, dear guest. My son, I'm glad you touched on those three particular points because they are major points in this country. But what is so sad, as you point out those points, is that they were implemented by this government, the Progressive Liberal Party. Now here it is now. You're saying that should be a continuation, and I think it should. But when the past government came, they stopped it. And now this government come back and they started. So why stop something making sense to stop it?
But now all governments stop, eh? All governments stopped, review, and cancel various programs. And I can tell you one in particular that I'm talking about, urban renewal. It was very personal to me, and I was involved in urban renewal from the initial phases down there in Camp Road, and the band when they initially got started, right there in St. Margaret's Church on Camp Road, where we used to practice all the time. Then all of a sudden the government changed and it stopped. Now we back in and out, in and out. Had that program been left alone and developed, those same children that we were trying to impart to over that time would be now young adults. Some of them may be the same people out there getting shot now.
So my son, with the greatest respect to you, who government stopped it?
Well, listen, I'm not whoever stopped it, right? Or
come on, my son.
Well, I'll tell you what happened today.
I know you to be a straight up and a real person, and I respect you to the max. Who government stopped urban renewal?
Well, we have to go back historically and check the facts from the beginning.
The facts is the F&M stop urban renewal, ma'am. Come on. Why is it so hard that when you support a government, you can't call them out when they're wrong, or you can't call them out on point?
No, I'm not. See, when you say that the F&M stopped urban renewal, that's a very specific point and a very specific thing that we're talking about. And I'm not going to say.
I challenge anyone to call the talk show.
Then we could. Right, but I'm not going to say that. I mean, you to call and you could say that that's what they did, and I'll say to you until I could fact check that that's what happened. I remember. I remember.
But Hannah, that's not no true. Caller, could you allow me to speak to it? If you want to say that the Free National Movement would have stopped particular programs in urban renewal, you could say that, but don't say that the Free National Movement stopped urban renewal. Urban renewal has been apart from the Christie government implemented urban renewal. There have been staff members. We have fellow colleagues who worked with urban renewal when we were in government, so we couldn't stop urban renewal.
Anyway, Ms. Hunt, I want to ask your caller, guest something. Three things I want you to answer me and answer the Bahamian people.
Okay.
Name me three significant things under the leadership of Mr. Minnis. Three significant things that the Bahamian people could look on. Yes, I understand we had the COVID and I understand we had the hurricane. But name me three things that he started or maybe completed that the Bahamian people could look on and say, you know something? Although Mr. Minnesota has logged down, although we've been in a sufferation at one point, name three things on this radio today, Richard, that you could say Mr. Hubert Minnis did.
Okay, well, I'll start. And again, I'm not here in defense. And of course, everyone knows my history. Everybody knows my political connection. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that everyone doesn't know my connection, okay? But the reality is, I don't have to sit here in this space and defend a former prime minister and a party whom the Bahamian people have already passed judgment on. I just don't have to do that. Right. But now, in specific response to your...
Okay, roses to send you.
Well, no. So, but to answer your question, I'll tell you what I'm particularly proud of. I'm particularly proud of the universal education. Why? Because of the kindergartens, universal education from preschool all the way to the University of the Bahamas. Even where kindergartens and preschools all throughout the Bahamas were getting paid subsidies to make sure that there were enough seats in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas for all children who were at preschool age. Why is that important? It's important to me because education, in my mind, is the start and the finish of the whole situation. So now you've accomplished in a short term with quite a few crises against you, a universal education system for all Bahamians. That means from preschool all the way to University of the Bahamas. No person in this Commonwealth of the Bahamas can say that they don't have access to education. To me, that's a big one.
That's a major accomplishment.
That is a big one.
Yes, it is.
And we could nitpick and we could say whatever we want to say. Mm-hmm. The Bahamian people already cast judgment on the F&M.
Yes.
And right now, as far as I'm concerned, the people who are in also stop, review, and cancel urban renewal, and we are in a crime crisis.
Yes.
And so let's talk about all of those persons who they sent home, because if those centers were open and operational, even if there was one child that we could save out there on these streets, then that's one child or one less person we'll be worrying about becoming a victim to crime. That's music. I have to take a commercial break. Call, I appreciate you though. Thanks for calling. You called me and get me hot on my last day on the show. Wow, I can't believe that, but I appreciate it. We'll take this break and be right back.
Never say never, willingness forever to fight.
Water and Sewage Corporation advises its customers in New Providence and the Family Islands that the corporation will commence mass disconnections beginning Monday, March 28, 2022, on all outstanding accounts and financial agreements. Customers who have not honored their financial agreements are advised to visit their local offices to update those agreements as soon as possible. And all customers are further advised to bring their accounts up to date to avoid the disconnection of their water and sewage services without further notice.
Here we go. J.S. Johnson Insurance Agents are the best. Reliable service, we've been on the enforcing, protecting since 1919. J.S. Johnson Insurance has the test. You're always covered me. J.S. Johnson Insurance, peace of mind.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Are you ready? 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 When the roll is called out, I'll be standing taller to face the darkest and the hardest of times. We'll be taking care of all the children.
Good afternoon, and we're back on the Hit Back. We're getting several texts, so I don't want the texters to think we're not checking for them today, so we'll just read a couple of these texts. Great show as usual. I don't buy the local newspapers or listen to the news because all you read or watch is killing or who almost get killed. Do you think something in the water or in the air? Because it's causing people to be abnormally violent. I don't know if it's abnormally violent, but it sure is or seems to be an increase. Good evening. I think the Minister of National Security is soft on crime. So is the police. Until we get serious and start hanging, this nonsense will continue. Well, I don't expect us to ever see another hanging in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I would hope that we do, but I'm just being realistic about it. We haven't seen one in decades, and I don't know if we'll ever get there. Another texter, good points. Let's get to the source. We are a nation of a large collection of failed parents. Now that's a different perspective. We need a mandatory parenting classes and programs for all school-age students. And we also need a national youth service. One more text and then we'll get back to our conversation. Good day again. Enforcement is an issue in the country, be it enforcement of laws on the books or even enforcement of a court or the order by the courts. Accountability on both ends needs to be improved. Otherwise, no one takes the law or consequences seriously, especially the youth, as we see the seriousness of crimes like murder, rapes, and such on the rise. So thank you so much for your text. If you want to weigh in on this topic, we're talking about crime, but we're talking about what other issues are on your mind as well today. We're going to get into some other discussions. I want to talk some more about urban renewal. I want to talk about the Duchess and Duke coming this week. So we still got a lot more things we want to talk about. But Richard, what do you think about that last call?
Well, I just wanted to respond to the caller because you did a good job in responding to him. You gave him one point of what we've accomplished when we were in government the last time. But people have to understand some things, sometimes when you put things, what you've done, some people don't even care about that. They don't go in the ballot box really understanding or don't care to understand some of the things that your government have took part in or done some initiatives. So I know that, but I know the particular caller voice. He's a known PLP, okay, in social media. And so I know what we have done over the last 4 years. I don't think he really cares because he's a Progressive Liberal Party supporter. But I just want to refresh his memory a little bit. We've done the STB, where we've spent millions of dollars in investing in small business entrepreneurs and giving them assistance in the pandemic, millions of dollars. We have talked about the food program, where we have fed thousands of Bahamians who needed assistance in that area. You're talking about the relaxation of business license, when business licenses were free. And we go on and on with the dump fire. And we could go on and on with the docks we've repaired and the bridges. All of these things we've done for education and crime and bringing in equipment to do things. The former government didn't sit down on its backside in 4 years and did nothing, absolutely nothing. That's wrong. The facts are, people run a narrative. I think we did a poor job in defending our record. I think we did a poor job in that as a party. But the PLP opposition did a good job in spinning the narrative. The Free National Movement done some good things. You know, Hunt, we had people who benefit from unemployment, from national insurance, and never never give any contributions to national insurance. So let's talk about the facts. Let's talk about what the former government did and how they had to step in and do some things that was not normally right, but they did it to assist people in the time of the need. And so I think the caller needs to get acquainted as what we did in 4 years.
Well, there you have it. Caller, we have another caller on the line. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling the Hit Back. What's on your mind? Hi, caller. Can you hear me? All right. Let's go to the next caller. Good afternoon, caller. How you doing?
I'm fine. Richard, how you doing, Richard?
JJ, how are you doing, sir? You have my gully wash?
This is big brother. Look here, see, the veteran people like on town and but miss them, they hardcore PLPD lawyers. I could go to war them. And Miss Hans, you forgot the dump. Anybody complaining about the dump tomorrow,
That's right.
No, they're not.
We could go on and on and on. Even the small contractors like us. But law being on the book from 1967, $50,000 you got to go to tender. We could get job over $100,000, $200,000 now. Small contractors like us. All they got to do is pay national insurance, pay your what, get registered and hire payments and pay national insurance. See, and PLPs benefited, DNA benefit, all payments who qualified benefited. But see what's happened in this country. A lot of BME people who self-employed, they refuse to pay national insurance for the workers, they refuse to pay national insurance for themselves, and don't like to pay bills. They think they're supposed to get everything free. They don't pay the mortgage. They don't pay nothing. They don't want to insure their car. You cannot run a country like this. Right now, we know that our civil service right now, Richard, is overloaded. The IDBD and the IMF tell us we need to get rid of 30,000 civil service right now. If any government do that right now, that would be political suicide. We got to borrow money to pay civil servants, pensioners, all their pension. That's why I can take my pension next year, man. I get my own early. And time to take my call, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's take another caller and then we'll get back on our conversation. Good afternoon, caller. Thanks for calling the Hit Back. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon. How's everything going?
Everything's going. Thanks for calling.
No problem. I think what a lot of persons don't understand in the country is not because election happens today, you will see instant results tomorrow. I think a lot of persons went into this last election thinking that a miracle pill would have somehow happened and day will turn to night and then to the next morning and everything will be fixed. We still see a lot of our people here in the country still hurting. We see persons unable still to pay their bills and still unable to find employment. And it's like people are now getting even more frustrated. But I think they went into the election unrealistically. You understand? They didn't even do really a good background check on some of the persons who they voted for. So now when they try to reach out to the persons, they find out that they cannot even get in contact with these people. So a lot of persons out here are very bitter and disappointed if you really speak to them nowadays. But I think that's why when you go into elections, you should go into elections finding out what you are voting for, read the party's itinerary plan or manifesto, and see exactly what their plans is, what they intend to do.
Can I say, thank you, caller. I just want to say something, again, that is also paramount in this country. The Free National Movement for me has always took on the big task. I'll tell you why. Pre-1992, we would have had the nation for sale. We would have been government in 92 on the eve of trying to put back a good image in this country. We always taking on the big task. In 2007, we would have been government again. 2008, the world recession came. And so again, the Free National Movement had to kick in a global recession to deal with the heavy lifting. Then in 2017, we would have had, then came the Hurricane Dorian. Then we'd have had the word pandemic. The Free National Movement, in my view, has always taken on the tough and heavy challenges in this country. And we have performed. People might question how we manage things, but I believe as a party and as a government, we always have strong leadership in the forefront to take on tough challenges of this country that we've taken on some of the strongest and hardest issues and things in this country as a party, and we've done a good job.
Well, Richard, I do want to piggyback on what the caller said, and I do appreciate that. Thank you for calling, caller. Election is not a miracle pill.
No, it isn't.
Why then? I mean, and the way he said it, it just resonated with me because for whatever reason, we seem to think that every 5 years we go in the box and we scratch our X and there's some kind of miracle pill, and all of a sudden all that was wrong in the past is gonna somehow change. Although all we're really doing is electing another subset of people that come directly from us, right? So just like the previous caller said, the police come from within our culture, within our society. All the MPs, all of them, PLP, FNM, DNA, Independent, all come from our communities. All of us are auntie, brother, sister, cousin, fraternity, brother, Masonic brothers or sisters in this one small Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Church member.
Okay, all of it, right? Neighbor.
Yes, went to school together, grew up together.
So, quite frankly, it is very true. And us as the electorate and citizenry need to make sure we remind ourselves that, guess what? This is not a miracle pill that we take every 5 years. And there are actually some systemic issues that we need to address, such as how are we training our workers? How are we educating people, making sure they go out to work and give us a honest day's work for honest day's pay, or not leaving all the paperwork on the desk unless someone comes and gives them lunch money, for example. So those are questions that we gotta ask ourselves, Richard. But we got a lot of things to talk about. I hear the music is coming on, and I know we have to go to the news. But when we come back from the news, I want to talk about the Duke and the Duchess that are coming tomorrow. What are your views on that? Lots of things in the news, such as the downtown redevelopment. We're getting roads paved, man, because the Duke and Duchess coming in town.
They need to come every day.
So we'll take the news. We'll be right back to talk about whatever else is on your mind.
Never say never, willingness forever to fight.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas. Is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Are you ready? 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 When the roll is called out, I'll be standing taller to face the darkest and the hardest of time.
Good afternoon. This is Heather Hunt, and we're on the Hit Back Guardian 96.9 FM. We are on an open line today, although the texters think we only talking about the F&M, but I said that we are open to talk about whatever it is that's on your mind. So if you want to talk about something else, please give us a call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, or you can send us a text, 422-4796. What I do want to talk about, and it's been a hot topic on the news today and in the days coming up, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, Will and Kate, or their Royal Highness, to be politically and proper correct. But we all grew up watching them grow up, watching, of course, Princess Diana die and Prince Harry and Will grow up without their mom. And so for persons in my age bracket, who are also, I guess, in the same age bracket as the Duke and Duchess, I don't know if any of you feel excited about their visit, but I think I do. Just because, they were two people, well, not Kate, obviously, because she's just joined in the royal family, I guess, 10 years ago. But before that, I think, watching them grow up was a part of my life story anyway, as a child. And so for me, it's good to see them come into their own, take on the royal tours, like Prince Charles would have done, like the Queen Elizabeth would have done when her father was still the king. So persons like me who are fans of the monarchy and that British history and history of the Commonwealth, I think it's exciting that they're coming. Some persons decided that this is the right time to hold a protest or, all of a sudden, Richard, I don't know. I was just saying this to you before we came on the air. I know there are persons who are against the monarchy. I know there are advocates who believe we should move to a republic. Quite frankly, me and my political hat, I know that there's going to be a conversation at some point in our future, a real sensible discussion about whether or not we move away from the monarchy, move into a republic. And I'm open to that and ready to have that conversation. So putting that on one side, I just didn't realize that there were so many people who are anti-monarchy or, anti, the Queen of England, because all of a sudden the rumblings that have come up these last few days about demanding reparations and demanding apologies. Are we just copycatting what we see happen in other countries, or there's really a real cry around here for people to?
Well, I know one thing. I'm excited to see them coming here. At least I wish they come here every day, saying the fact that roads are being paved and bridges are being cleaned and grass is being cut properly, and we now look like we're getting this place together. I saw something online with in Jamaica they're protesting. I think it's the beauty of our democracy, displaying that people have dissenting views on certain matters. I agree with you, Head, about having a discussion sooner than later about the issue with the independence, or whether we stay on or with the monarchy, or we go to republic. That's a discussion the country will have in years to come. I'm excited to see them. I'm sure I won't be able to see them in person, but I hope that it will bring our country the PR that we need, and we will step up our game in terms of how we deal with royal persons, and I'm excited. I think Bahamians should be a part of it, and the little girls to see an actual princess, not the TV or the cartoon, but you're seeing an actual human being. That's actually a princess. I see on their agenda they're going to a school, Civil Strong.
They are.
To do a fine arts, I think, celebrations. And so for children at that age who need that exposure to see an actual princess or a future king, I think is exciting for our children.
And I understand that they're going to zoom in from that school, the special assembly, all of the other schools that are on Zoom. So it will be like a national assembly of all the schools, and they can join in the assembly at Sybil Strawn via Zoom. So not just that small group of children in this particular school, but it is I think very interesting for the children to be given that exposure and an opportunity. We would never know sometimes the one thing that sets in a child's mind, one experience that happens to them early in their life that can change their trajectory forever. And so just being a part of that moment is something that would give exposure to so many children in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And quite frankly, the way I feel about it, Richard, I think sometimes we try to rewrite history too much, okay, as Bahamian people. The fact of the matter is, it is history. Some of it we don't like. Some of it we obviously would do over if we had the opportunity, such as, the slave trade and whatever have you. But the reality is that is a period that we live through. And if we are real scholars and students of history, we'll understand that slavery has been with us, not just the African slave trade. White and the Nordic countries in the East and European countries have had other races as slaves. We've had slavery as far back as the Bible that we pound up and down and swear by. But from Genesis in the Bible, there's been slavery. So you're going to go all the way back there to Abraham and ask for reparations for the slave trade from then.
Absolutely.
You remember Ishmael was the daughter of a slave. So and again, I don't want to minimize the point, but I'm just saying it's so convenient that this great body of persons are now advocating, just because there's an announcement of the Duke and Duchess. Let them come and enjoy the Bahamian hospitality that we're so very world famous for. And like you say, expose them to our culture again at the cultural show. Give us some exposure on issues that, they want to address and are interested in. And I say, bring them on. Come on, Duke and Duchess, and have a wonderful, grand old time here in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas while you're here.
The Royals.
The Royals.
Yes.
We got a call on the line. Caller, good afternoon. Thanks for calling the Hit Back.
Hello, thank you for taking my call. Yeah, when you really look at it, we some of us are slaves to to ourselves. You know, we imprison ourselves with so many different habits. You know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
So slavery really has to be fine-tuned, because I still think we have to don't let these people reinstate themselves, because I don't know what the purpose of the visit is, but I'm pretty sure somebody is going to go back home and report or say, well, you know, were you accepted, blah, blah, blah. And because, you know, we brought up, we believing that we need a sovereign to consent to their services. And that's basically what these people represent. Now, those who feel as though they need a sovereign to consent to their services, then bring on the Duke, the Duchess, and everybody else. But frankly, I think we need to emancipate ourselves. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you so much. And again, caller, I'm sure, again, like I said, I don't want to belittle the conversation, right? Because it is time that we sit down as Bahamians and have a serious conversation as to head of state. Are we retaining the Queen as head of state? Most recently, we saw Barbados. They removed the Queen as head of state. They're now a republic with a female president, I might add. The first president being a female, while the prime minister's female. You know, I got to shout out to the woman down, right? So it's not like it's a subject that's far away from us here in the Bahamas. I'm just saying that, you know, as responsible citizens and as people who have to realize that, you know, we are coming up on 50 years of independence, 1973. Let the Duke and Duchess participate in their tour of the Commonwealth. And these tours have been going on from time immemorial. Like I said, Prince Charles would have gone on various tours. Queen Elizabeth herself goes on various tours of the Commonwealth. And for students of history, she was on one of these very same tours of the Commonwealth as a princess when she was in Africa and got the news that her father had passed away, and she had to come off of one of these Commonwealth tours to go back to England to be crowned and coronated as the Queen of England. So the purpose of it is to keep the Commonwealth together. They are still head of state of all the nations who are still deemed Commonwealth. And although that number of countries is dwindling and dwindling as the years go by, until we do something different about it, they are the head of state. And we need to give them the due courtesies and respect owing and due to those rules, and not use it as a time, in my view, to turn the visit into, you know, a kind of circus. Because at the end of the day, we can talk about issues all day, every day. We are a free country. It's not like this is the only time you can get up and have a discussion or a debate or a protest, if you will. So, you know, wait until they leave. That's my 5 cents. Caller, good afternoon. Thanks for calling the Hit Back.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Sun, and good afternoon to your guest.
Good afternoon.
You know, it's really, we're really in a sad state in this country to see that we have lost all of our respect and, you know, for certain things. And when I'm saying that, I'm not talking about respect for the Queen. I'm talking about respect for us as a people, period, across the board. We've lost that. I see it every day. I see it, especially during election time, in the campaign. I see it even after, that people no longer have respect for anything or anyone, and that is so sad. If the Queen, if the Prince comes here, him and his wife, be respectful the way you're supposed to be. Show respect to everybody. They're not coming here. They're not monitoring. They're not over you. They're not controlling you. We need to think. We have other more serious matters in this country to think about than worrying about the Queen and with the princess. Be respectful and do what all nations would do even when our people go abroad and they're visiting. You do what is supposed to be done and be respectful. We have lost our way, and you know, I'm really sorry to see that we think we only came about since 1973 or 1967. This place was here long before that. And there are many things that has been done in this country long before that to bring us to this day or to that day and to this day now. Why is it that we believe or we pretend as if everything just came about? I know I was born long before 1973. I know I was born, I mean, maybe not all that extra long before 1967, but definitely I was here. My parents would have been here. And we were living, and I didn't see us nowhere. I didn't see Bahamians nowhere enslaved. Why are we having that mentality? Why have we of that mentality? But we're going to be put back 100 years. because the Queen, the Duchess and the Duke is coming here. Why? Why a mindset like that? We are enslaving our own selves. We hold our own selves in bondage. It is just so sad and it's so silly to hear the way people talk about things. When the previous administration was in power, nothing was done right. Everything was wrong. They caused the pandemic and they caused Dorian. They bought Dorian and they bought the pandemic. Oh, what a sad day that they did that. They brought those things in. Of course, now everything is sugar and spice and everything nice, so everything should be going on fine and beautiful now. I see murders up, must see 100%. I see all these things, and I don't even hear no solutions. I don't even hear anything. I see all the things that are being done now, just riding on what had happened before. I'm not going to pretend like everything is all right in this place, because it's not. And we need to stop burying our heads in the sand like ostriches and just capitalizing because of our politics on something that is unnecessary. We need to stop that foolishness. Understand? I am so sorry that this is your last day, because I was hoping that you were going to be there to bring a breath of fresh air into, some of these talk shows, which has really been good. I've been listening to you since the first day you came on. So I'm sad to hear that this is your last day.
Well, you'll see me or hear me in another space, but it was a wonderful time here with you these past couple of weeks. I gotta tell you. So I think I got the bug now.
Yes.
The talk show bug has bit me. Is that even correct?
They want you to stay here.
Has bit me. No,
Yeah.
that's not even right. But I got bitten by. That's right. The
Yes.
talk show bug.
Yes.
So you're gonna hear from me, I'm sure, very shortly, caller. And I thank you so much for that call. Another caller. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for calling the Hit Back.
Hello, good afternoon, ma'am, and to you, and I guess.
Afternoon.
Good. I think earlier you were speaking about the crime situation in the country.
Yes.
And as a mother and a grandmother, when you started off the show, you spoke about each of us more or less looking in ourselves and us be the change that we want to see. And that's the same posture that I wish to take. I think right now our country needs everyone to just see how they can help and assist to turn this whole problem around. And I think it all comes from the root at the home. But sadly, the home has been broken up to probably about 4 levels, more or less. When you consider that very well, you could have generations of persons in that prison. That's a sad reality. And so the church and the community at large, especially the Junkanoo community, I look at it as 2 big movements, not even the political movement. I look at the church and the Junkanoo movement groups as being a great movement that can make a change in this country. And I think one point that person needs to be aware of is that the criminals and the persons who are law-abiding, upright citizens, they all have the same basic needs, and that is survival. And that's to provide an assistance. However, sadly, the other ones are going on the contrary way. But based on that, though, the sad reality is that many of our men, especially, are illiterate. They drop out of school early. And this brings me to tears because when I think about our men, that's the base of our home. When you were to kill that man, Sid, the home is destroyed. And we got to do some resetting. And our men got to speak to our men, and our men as a whole, our men hands. So their father, grandfather, great-grandfather missing, the men of our country, through the churches and through the community jumping groups, we got to teach them how to read and write. And we got to help them get gainful employment. And we got to keep speaking to them that they are the warrior prince, and they have to take their rightful position because their wife and their children are depending upon them.
That's
a
right.
sad reality. And I only can do my part, Mom. A little bit one at a time. But church and Junkanoo community are the 2 biggest movements. We have to come out of where we are and get into the communities. On each day of the week, go into the communities, reach those people where they are, bring them in, teach them how to read, teach them how to write. Teach them how to have a change in their mind, because putting the police in the schools is not the answer. Until you have a mindset change, love God with all your heart, love yourself, then to love your neighbor yourself. That's the essence of everything that we do in life. Thank you for engaging me, ma'am.
Thank you.
My heart is moved to action.
Yes.
And I pray many persons have been moved now to action. How can I help? How can I be the change that I want to see? Enough of the talking for everyone out there. Do your part. Everyone do their part. Take somebody's hand and help them to move away. Get in the way. Thank you, ma'am, and God bless.
Thank you so very much, caller. And I thank you for your intervention. They're very moving, and I can tell that you feel it. And everyone out there right now, even if your head was in the sand like an ostrich, some of this has to be touching you and feeling you and hitting you in some way down in your soul. I mean, at the end of the day, I ask myself every day, what is it that I can do? I can't do everything, but I could do something. What can I do? When I hear a neighbor in a fight, or when I know someone that's being abused, and I decide to just ignore it because that ain't my business. Do I decide to go out there now and start advocating and talking on some people and calling the police and saying that certain things are going on, or where the criminals are? These are things that we all can do, and as that mother and grandmother said, sometimes it's the mothers and the grandmothers who home too, kind of pretending and cloaking that it's not my good son.
Right.
But then, we empathize and our hearts break with them when we have to see them crying on the TV over and over, and it's becoming such a normal thing. Like, even the children today, Richard, back in the day, it was such a surprise and you didn't hear it all the time. But now with social media, TikTok, you see it gets to their phone before it gets to our phone. Mm-hmm. So they're seeing this like on a real-time basis. And, we're wondering what it is that's happening. But
and also had the issue, too, with the violence against women. I think it's becoming, that's becoming enlarged in our community. And we've seen, numbers of deaths and brutality and women being subjected to this. Woman the other day, allegedly hang herself, and so women, they're being targeted a lot by their significant other, and I think we need to start, and stop, the talking and saying, well, I had a conversation with the young lady and I assisted her here, there, and there. No, it's not a short-term fix. There are a lot of females that are crying out, and they're suffering in silence. And so we need to find ways as a community, as a country, as bodies of people, to get with these single mothers or mothers, even women who are married are going through these issues with abuse and all of these things. Verbal abuse is poor. So you can imagine, the physical abuse and all these, that females. And I think as women celebrate Women's Month and Women's Day, I hope to see in the future days, months to come, where more women come to the fore and come to the front about the issues that they are facing, with verbal abuse and being abused.
I think you're seeing it a lot more now, because even on social media and the way people react, they're sharing information, sharing resources. I've noticed it myself. Various programs are advertising more about, how to call the crisis center, how to call various churches, counseling lines. I've seen it personally in the last few weeks, and I just want to give a special shout out there to all persons who are unseen, just working behind the scenes, working those telephone lines, those therapists and counselors who have to be there and pick up the phone. You don't know exactly who you're going to be talking to when you pick up that phone line, but you give up of yourself, and you're doing a great job in very difficult circumstances. So
absolutely.
We want to give you a shout out there. So we got some texts before we take off into another line of conversation, because although I won't talk about the Duke and Duchess, I guess nobody else won't talk about the Duke and Duchess. Someone says, the texter says, I'm very excited for their arrival. I wish I could be there to greet them in person, but I'll be at work. I wish Bahamians would see this as an opportunity to showcase our beautiful island and all we have to offer them and the world. We are a tourist destination, so the PR will be fantastic. I'm also glad they're going to both Abaco and Grand Bahama as well. When I found out that they were going to Abaco and Grand Bahama, although things are improving and, progress is ongoing, both of those islands are still suffering and clearly evident the effects of Hurricane Dorian. So I think they're going to see firsthand,
Damages.
damage. And I know that they're going to lay a wreath at the grave sites. So I think for some persons, at least in Abaco, that may touch a few wounds. But at the same time, persons in Abaco have been advocating all the way since Dorian about how their needs need to be addressed. So maybe a royal visit gets to shine another light on what's happening post-Dorian, and who knows where that will lead from there.
Yeah.
Another texter, I agree, Hunt, about reparations. It's history. We move on and build on it to improve our lot. We need to respect our history and our royals. After all, we are a hospitable people, and we do rely on our allies like the British and the USA to help us if we need assistance. One more text. Great show as usual. What do you say? Oh boy. Great show as usual. The Duke gonna go back and say, boy, them people nasty. No, the Duke ain't gonna say that because, man, the road's clean. Where you been? Text, I don't know where you been driving, but my car, I have a smooth ride.
Very smooth.
And the verge is clean. Now, guess what? They come last week.
Oh, man.
We'd been an issue. You know, the Minister of Environment.
He's lost. I sent out a clarion call yesterday, asking for the Minister of Environment, who's my member of Parliament, by the way. I live in his constituency. I didn't vote for him and will not vote for him, never. But I'm saying he's still my member of Parliament. I think he's out to lunch. I haven't seen him in 6 months. And he's, so funny. He's also the Minister responsible for natural resources and for the environment. And he talked about all of these things about climate change and the environment. But the minister is just, where's he? So I'm saying publicly on the radio, I am asking and paging to hear from my member of Parliament, Vaughan P. Miller, who's the Minister for the Environment, because he's been silent and I can't find him nowhere. I don't know if he's even at his office. He lives right down the road from his office. I don't even see car home. I don't know where he is. But I need my member of Parliament to come forward because he has some things he needs to answer to the Bahamian people.
So you think now that separate road cleaning contracts just to clean up for the Duke and Duchess, or some of the persons who got fired got brought back, or are we gonna get accounting of who all got paid to come and clean the side verges and roads for the Duke and Duchess?
Bring the names forward. Who got the juicy contracts? Because to clean that airport that airport highway. That's a major highway, so that have to be clean. If they're going to go on West Bay Street, that have to be clean. I talk about extensive cleaning, and so we need to see who got those contracts to clean that work, because I know they would have done extra to make sure tomorrow morning when those people come here, the royals come here, that looks spick and span.
Well, I hear you, but I Texter, I don't think he's going to say me nasty, because I drove around yesterday, and I think it looking way better than it did a couple of days ago. So one thing with us now, see, that's when people come into your house, right? When they come and they announce that they come in, they don't know that your house was nasty for 3 weeks or 6 months. All they know is that your guests are coming and you cleaning up. Y'all clean up in here. You know how you are.
But I can tell you, I believe that they're going to have a good time, because this PLP government, boy, they can throw a party. They don't know nothing but governing. They ain't solving no problem. But they can party. So I believe they're going to have a ball. And we're going to spend thousands of millions of dollars. And we can never get no accounting, because they believe we should not question them. But they're going to treat those people, the royals. Sorry, why I keep on saying they're going to treat the royals. But trust me, they're going to have a ball in the Bahamas, because this government not throw a party.
Well, just so we are being responsible, or I'm being a responsible host, the announcement was made about the budget, about $200,000. And for the record, that's not all paid by the host country. So you do have the royals and the diplomatic, we pay a portion of that $200,000 as the host country. But it's not, as persons have been saying, that, the whole price tag is on the Bahamian government. So just being responsible.
Well, this is the same government that said that when they would have sworn at Bahama, that the price was this, and then when you did the finding, the price was extra. So I don't trust their judgment on spending our money.
No problem. Caller, I see you're on the line holding. Thank you for calling. You're on the hit back.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm great. This is Heather and Mr. Richard Johnson.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Mr. Richard Johnson, I got a little bit of facts for you.
You do?
Considering that you are Mr. Fox and issue.
This is he.
Facts is that this country has been dirty for 4.5 years under the FNM.
Mhm.
So our house has been dirty for 4.5 years. In fact, we're still dirty with all of the debris from Dorian, you know. And the fact of the matter is now that we have a government who is finally cleaning up and paying some people for doing their work, you know, it seemed like there's a problem. But, you know, there were people under the former government who were being paid, and you never saw them on the road doing any work. The country was all grown up. The country was like a jungle, you know. But now that a new day is here, in less than 6 months, the country is being cleaned up all around, and this was happening before the prince was coming here. This started happening shortly after the New Day government took governance in this country. They started cleaning the country up. You could have seen people actually literally on the side of the road cleaning, doing a deep cleaning to the country. So thank God for a New Day and the government that cares about the Bahamian citizen enough, one, to give them work, two, to clean up the country, that the people can have some pride in the environment that they live in. So, you know, that's a bit of facts for you, eh?
All right, caller. Well, I'm going to give Mr. Fox and Issues an opportunity to respond to that. But before he gets to that, let's take this second caller, and then we'll respond to both at the same time. No, that's no caller? Okay. All right, so the roads will clean up only because of the New Day. Well, the point I was making was that the Duke and Duchess visit is a reason for the country to be cleaned up even further.
Yes.
Now, I did not say that the government was not carrying out its responsibility to clean roads and side verges, okay, prior to the Duke's visit. I'm simply saying that, and you know, although people complain and say, oh, we shouldn't be doing this just because the Duke and Duchess are coming, well, quite frankly, that's what hospitality is. That's the point I'm making. I can clean my house all day, every day, but if I know I'm having special guests, I do a deep clean. I didn't cast any aspersions on whether or not the government was cleaning the place or not. The point I was responding to the caller was that I don't think, in my estimation, the Duke and Duchess will be able to go back to Mother England and say the place dirty, because there is a special effort being made to clean up the place for their visit, as it should be. If you know the royals are coming to your house, what are you going to do? Just sweep the dirt under the rug? I mean, the respectable and sensible thing to do
is to clean.
as good, hospitable people is to clean the place. Now, I know the caller was talking about the place being dirty for 4.5 years. I know you will have something to say on that, Mr. Fox and Issues. Is that the fact?
That's not the fact. The caller, I'm very familiar with his voice. I know who that is. And he's a strong supporter of the Progressive Liberal Party. You know, one of the things that they are not understanding, September 16th, a new government took office. I don't think they understand that. So September 16th to now, because they celebrated 6 months, I think, last week, they have been collecting a salary. Each of them have collected a salary every month because they're being paid by the Bahamian people. So if you're being paid by the Bahamian people, whether you're in the Minister of Environment or you're part of Roads and Parks, it is your job to clean and do your job. They're saying what happened prior. That's very interesting. What he failed to understand is the former Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Works, the Honorable Desmond Bannister, the Free National Movement took a very extensive exercise in cleaning up the country, number one, and doing a lot of reconstruction and redevelopment in this country, whether it was roads, whether it was bridges, whether it was docks, whether it was sidewalks, whether it was cleaning, whether it was parks. They did it. And so don't say it was dirty 4 years ago. If it's dirty now, you're the government, fix it. You're not here to hold titles and drive government can't travel. You are here to perform a duty. We are paying you to get up and go to work and do what's required. I agree with you when you said if they are coming here, which they are tomorrow, you have to do some little touches and cleaning and all of that. And then this notion about the damage in Abaco, they have to understand billions of dollars, and and here you're my senior, wanted to correct me on this. Billions of dollars was reported in terms of the excessive damage in Abaco. That ain't $1 million. That ain't $200,000. That's billions of dollars. So if the damage was almost that value, do you know the extent of cleanup you have to do? Mm-hmm. You know the debris and the garbage you have to clean up. That ain't nothing jokey. And so the Free National Movement worked in 4 years to clean up this country, to pave roads, to provide docks, to do things that they didn't do, to provide passport office in family islands that never happened before. When I went to Exuma in the campaign, I was excited to see that the ground was breaking for a new airport. Roads were being paved. By who? Passport office for the first time. A modernized clinic in Exuma, and the list go on and on. We are the party that always deliver. And so to that caller, we've always been proactive in our government. Sorry that he can't see it. I think he has too much dirt across his eyes.
So we got a texter who's, I guess they have it in for me a little bit. So Heather Hunt, how can you all talk bad and make insinuations about this government when that caller wanted to talk about the FNM, you all wanted to cut him off? This an FNM show? I thought this was just a talk show. So first thing, it is a talk show. It's not a paid political broadcast. We're not advertising the Free National Movement. We started up at the beginning of the show saying that we're talking about hot topics and issues that are on your mind in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Started quite a bit talking about crime. And then a caller called and asked our guest to name 3 things that the Free National Movement accomplished. Well, I think that caller opened Pandora's box, and we did have to cut him off for the news. But I think when you ask a question now, you have to be prepared for the answer, because yes. I'm sure Facts and Issues is here, and he's listed. I only answered 1 because he said 3. But my able guest has continued along that line, because this is what we do. We are a talk show, and I said we have an open line to talk about anything that's on your mind. And anyone else who wants to call and join in, make sure you know I'm not a biased one here today. So if you want to call and talk about the new day 6 months in, let's go. We got another 15 minutes. Give us a buzz here, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Or you can give us a text on 322-4796. Now, one thing with me, Richard, Facts and Issues, I always like to call a spade, and I was very excited to hear how strong and hard the Deputy Prime Minister, Chester Cooper, spoke about the seriousness or how they are going to attack the redevelopment of downtown. Basically, giving a clarion call and a warning to all the stakeholders. You know, persons who own property downtown, persons who live downtown, businesses, and all the relevant persons, that there's no chance that this government is going to allow the status quo of that dirty downtown to continue. I thought that was an excellent first salvo or opening remarks. So, you know, it's one thing now to set the tone and let everyone know you mean business. What I want to see now is some enforcement of these laws. Let's acquire some of these properties, you know, for failure to keep them in good repair. See, we're talking about whether the Duke will say the place is nasty. Maybe if he goes east of East Street, he might change his mind and say, you know what? Wow. What's
Welcome
up? We got a caller on the line. Caller, good afternoon. Thanks for calling the Hit Back.
Yes, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm fine.
Hello.
I'm fine. How you doing?
Wonderful. Yeah, I just want to understand and to see what if the Free National Movement had won the government this time. Do you think that we would have known anything about that $2 million that they're talking about?
Well, I don't believe in hypothesizing, right? But I think in due course, when the business persons would have conducted their audit, it would have been discovered. Because from what I understand, you know, after the program would have been shut down, at some point, there would have had to be a due diligence and an accounting. So yes, I believe that at some point we would have known about it.
Yes.
And one more question. Sheraton hotel that's on the corner. Do you think that beforehand that they would have found a name brand to keep the hotel open and instead of closing it?
Which hotel you speaking of? Sorry, I missed that part.
Yeah, that's the Sheraton Hilton.
Oh, the Hilton.
Yes.
It is unfortunate that the Hilton has pulled out of the Bahamas. I would not know enough of the facts to give any kind of educated comment on it. I think I was as surprised as the rest of the Bahamas to hear the announcement. I was also pleased that this Minister of Tourism took an aggressive stance to intervene, although it was clear that it couldn't be stopped. But I'm comfortable that that is a matter he's engaging on. I'm actually quite pleased at how the Minister of Tourism and Deputy Prime Minister is engaging. And I think this is actually two governments in a row that my favorite minister may be the Minister of Tourism. Is it because, I guess we picked the best to put in tourism? I don't know. But I'm confident that this government or this minister is fully engaged on that issue, and we just wait to see how that is resolved. I can't say if it would have happened had the FNM won. We didn't have a crystal ball. But I think had the FNM won, I'm sure Minister D'Aguilar would have engaged because, like I said, I think he was one of our very brightest ministers of tourism in my recollection. And I think the DPM is carrying on along that same path.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm giving kudos to the New Day government. It's doing its best, and we expect a little bit more. But as a people, we expect the best out of them. We're paying our money, and we want value for our money. We wasn't getting it from the last government because they refused to report. They refused to give us accountability and transparency. Okay.
Well, I think that may be
now they're in opposition, and now they want to talk. Okay. Thanks for to be sure.
Thank you so very much, caller, for that. I appreciate your intervention. And like I said earlier, I'm not going to be the one to be on this space trying to be the defender of all things FNM. You, the Bahamian people, decided that in September the 16th. I know that I live in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and I want to make sure the government succeeds, because if the government succeeds, then I could succeed. I have to live here. My children have to live here. I'm trying to raise 3 decent citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So I have no reason to want the New Day government to fail. But I don't expect also callers to come in here and expect me to have arguments with you over what happened over the last 4.5 years. You went in the ballot box and dealt with that on September the 16th. 6 months later now, I just want to know, when I go to buy my pads and my grits and my rice, why, for example, the butter that was $3.79 last week now costs $4.09. That's what I want you to talk to me about 6 months later. You could continue to beat the previous government as long as you want to give them their licks, because that's what we do, and that's what voting is all about. But right now, today, what's on my mind? Butter gone up 40 cents in 1 week, from $3.79 to $4.09. We'll talk about that and whatever other issue is on your mind right after this break.
Let's run moving right along, and I'll roll with the punches.
When I got prostate cancer, my family didn't know if I was going to live. At Cancer Treatment Centers of America, within days, I got an appointment. They presented me with treatment options, and we set up a robotic prostatectomy. When my scans came back, there are no signs of cancer. They don't see you as a number, they see you as a part of the family. I'm going on with my life. It's a real gift.
Call us at Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
Know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
Around the world, Cleveland Clinic is recognized as a leader in healthcare. Our team of experts relentlessly pursues the best for our patients. From groundbreaking cancer research to state-of-the-art heart surgery, life-saving innovations happen here every day. When it's time to travel for your health, it's time to travel to Cleveland Clinic. Your destination for care, for every care in the world. To learn more, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
Tuberculosis, or TB, is an airborne disease that mainly affects the lungs. When people infected with TB cough, sneeze, sing, or laugh, droplets with the bacteria that causes TB can be released into the air and may affect others. Some people are at higher risk of developing the disease if exposed to the TB bacteria. If you were in close contact with someone with active TB disease, recently traveled to a country where TB is common, have uncontrolled diabetes, have HIV/AIDS, are malnourished, live or work in a hospital, prison, or nursing home, or are a child under the age of 5 years old who was in contact with someone with active TB, you may be in the tuberculosis high-risk group. Contact your healthcare provider or the Ministry of Health's Tuberculosis Surveillance Unit immediately at 502-4728 or 502-4803. Tuberculosis is preventable and curable. The clock is ticking. Let's end TB.
This message has been brought to you by the Ministry of Health.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Are you ready? 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 Are you ready?
Good afternoon. My name is Heather Hunt, and you're here on the Hit Back. It's a pleasure being with you on this wonderful Wednesday. We're talking about things that are on your mind, and I was so pleased to have with me this afternoon my good friend Richard Facts and Issues Johnson, just spending a bit of time here with me in the studio, talking to you, the Bahamian people, about whatever it is that's on your mind. Now, don't get vexed with us if what's on the people's mind is is political, because I told you at the beginning, just give us a call and you could talk about whatever it is that you want. There is a caller on the line, but Richard, I wanted to get your particular viewpoint before I get to that caller. We touched on it a little bit earlier when we were talking about urban renewal and, stop, review, and cancel the program and where it would have been without any political interference. But I really wanted to get on the human side of that point, and we didn't get back to it. But persons who were managing that program and participating as employees of that urban renewal program, there was a wholesale firing of members of staff of urban renewal after the government changed. And although people say, okay, well, when governments change, you should expect some sort of, reshuffling or some level of victimization. I call it a rank victimization, because persons at that level shouldn't be, mothers with children, bills to pay, mortgages to pay, are out here not knowing how they are going to survive now, just because a new minister's decided to throw the whole, lot away and revamp the program, bringing in brand new people. What do you have to say on that?
I think it's a sad day in the Bahamas when we continue recycling this victimization, because once we target people to go on the unemployment line, would have destroyed a lot of things for them in their life in terms of, paying their bills or school fee or paying a rent or even keeping a roof over their head. And in particular, you have persons who are single mothers, ladies or single mothers, And if they're the only breadwinner in the family, because their significant other, whoever left them, to provide for themselves, you've done a disservice to the country, you've done a service to them. So we talk about trying to ensure that we want to see a new Bahamas, and we want to make sure that people are working, and we want to make sure people are qualifying and feed themselves. That's good. It's also easy said than done, because as we speak today, there are plenty, lots and lots of Bahamians, particularly women, who are being fired from this government, sent home, not because of their performance, but because of their political attachment to a party. When are we going to develop as a country? When are we going to get this political state as a country? And sometimes the people who you're replacing them with are not qualified. And so it's sad to see that this is going to continue. We have to make it. We have to stop it. Or governments coming in have to make sure that these people need to be PNP, where they are not touched and so easily, or the contract is so strong and so enshrined that they can't touch it. And so I cry shame on this. This is poor. Particular in Grand Bahama, you've had persons in the Pine Ridge Urban Renewal Center sent home, all of them. Some of them had no notice. They were just told to go home. They've still owed back pay and other monies and increments. And so you fired them, but you still didn't give me what you owe me. And so if you fire me and give me what you owe me, and I got to come back, I maybe wouldn't feel bad. I may be able to take that money and invest in probably doing a business or something I can do to hold myself, sustain myself till I find something long term. So it's
but you know, these persons, Richard, they went through Dorian, right? Anyone who went to Freeport realized even before Dorian, Grand Bahama has been the victim of several hurricanes and has been on the ropes for a long time.
Very long time.
So you go through Dorian and you couple that now with a pandemic, the COVID recession like the rest of the Bahamas, right? And, now after September 16th, you're only making a few $100s a week. It's not like you're at a really high political appointee that you expect in an axe after an election. So I've already gone through and suffered all these years. Come to find out now, I'm a hurricane victim, a COVID victim. So many people around me have died as a result of COVID. My mental health is in shambles because of the situation. And now I'm being sent on the unemployment line just because there's been a policy decision to get rid of everybody and bring in a wholesale people who, I guess, support the government of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how could, and you talked about, well, actually, before we go there, this call has been holding. Caller, thanks so much for calling us on the Hit Back.
How you doing?
Good.
Yeah, it's a new day. They're trying, but I still don't trust them. You know what I mean? And one thing I wanted to ask, why our custom duty and our custom, like the tariff fee is so high in this country? Like for a small businessman cannot negotiate their price or whatever, and what I think that it costs a lot of undercut deals. People could know how to undercut and get through the system. You know what I mean? If they do it right and where people could be satisfied and bring in things and the price wouldn't, because I think they could drop them prices, man. Like electronics is 40 something %, 30% and all that. I think that's too high, man.
Well, caller, I thank you so much for that intervention. That subject is a whole subject in and of itself. But I'll tell you, one of these days, the government of the Bahamas, whoever that government is, has to take a real serious look at the cost of living in this country and how are we going to reduce that cost of living. I'm sorry I couldn't get to that last caller on the line because my time is up. I want to thank Richard for being here with me today on this Hit Back. It was a pleasure being with you. Richard, you want to say anything quickly?
I want to say thank you for having me here. I want to say you did a good job being in as a host. I didn't know you had this in you. I know you was always a strong politician and a very good senator. And so I'm very, very happy that I'm here and we'll be able to have a dialogue about some of the issues that are facing our country. And I hope, we'll be back.
I think we will be back. I think that's a given. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been my pleasure. You'll hear from me someday, one day soon. Until then, keep tuning in to Guardian 96.9. And don't forget, next week, Monday, Naughty starts in here with his new show, Talking Heads. So keep tuning in 4 to 6 every day. Thanks. It's been a pleasure.
Formula, do what I have to do, and call me by my name.
The Hits Pack is sponsored by the Cancer Treatment Centers of America, Burger King, Fidelity Bank Bahamas, J.S. Johnson, the Water and Sewage Corporation, the Ministry of Health, the Cleveland Clinic, and the Pan American Health Organization.